Okay, I'm back with the temple that it shows in the Bible. This is how it looked like. You can see how massive it was. It was a pretty big temple that was built. I'm gonna try to give you some points about what was what on here, and and all of that. So this is the Ezekiel's temple vision. This is what the temple looked like. It's pretty massive anyway. It's Ezekiel's final vision of an ideal temple in city and land forms a counterpart of the vision of chapters 8 through 11. In each case, he is taken on a tour of the structure. But whereas in the earlier vision he discovers abominations and perverted worship, in this final vision all is in readiness for the perpetual dwelling of the glory of God of Israel in chapters 8 through 10. Most of the movement centers on the gate structures to the north and finally focuses on the main sacrificial altar, from which central point the slaughtering angels begin their work. And this final vision of Ezekiel's tour begins and ends at the east gate, but passes by the same areas as those he saw in the earlier vision, which the tour completed. He is again outside the main east gate as he senses the approach of the glory of God returning the same way Ezekiel had seen him go. The temple plan. This is the labels below are arranged from the innermost and most sacred area and moving outward. It must be bore in mind that the temple can have two distinct references. It can refer generally to the entire temple complex, including the outer gates and court, and its more strict references. The temple is the innermost structure itself, which has a single eastern entrance and contains the most holy place. The most holy place is where, of course, God Himself was in. And of course, the Ark of the Covenant was in there too, and God sat upon the top of the Ark of the Covenant, and the priest would go in there once a year to sacrifice burnt offerings to God for Israel's sins. So back in the Old Testament, that's how God would forgive the Jews if their sins was by burnt offering. Of course, today, we don't do that because our salvation is through Christ and Christ alone, through repentance, through repenting of sins and living life of Christ. So anyway, I'm gonna try to do this real quick. It says A, which is like right here, if you can see that right there. That was the most holy place. What would happen would be the priest would come. He would walk up these stairs, and I believe the altar was right there where he would make sacrifices right here, or he would usually get the carcasses of animals and bring them up the stairs right here, and he would go into the most holy place, which is here, to sacrifice them so that God will forgive Israel their sins. And then B, which is the inner rim of the temple, which is that right there. And then C was the entrance of the temple, which was, of course, that. And then D, which is there. It says the imposing altar, although the number of stairs is not given, the entire altar structure is about 16 feet tall. Think about that. This D structure right here says the imposing altar, although the number of stairs is not given, the entire altar structure, meaning this part here was 16 feet high. That's massive. So many steps would have been required. This area of the inner court was accessible only by priests. Not even the prince was permitted entry. So this area was only for the priest to be in. And then you have E, which I'm trying to find right now, right there. You have E. This was the chamber for Zadok priest. And then F, which would have been, let's see, where's F at? Well, where's Elf? Lost my place. Elf, over here. There's Elf right there. This is the chamber for priests who have who have charge of the temple. So these were the priests that was in charge of this entire temple. That's where they stayed in. Then G, which is right here, all this outer area. This is G. This was the outer court with its sturdy chambers in the outer wall. And then you have H, which is way up here. the temple kitchens, one in each corner of the outer court. So this is the kitchen. This is where they would prepare meals and all this stuff at for people. And then you have Ai, which was, let's see here. Ai is somewhere. I can't find it. There's Ai's right there. Ai is this is the 30 outer chambers all right here. So, of course, this is all around the temple. There was 30 outer chambers, just like in every corner of the temple. There was kitchens, and then and J would be right here. There's J. The prince's gate. From its threshold, he worships on each Sabbath, while the priest bring the offerings into the inner court. This is where the prince would be at, right here, just next to the stairs to the temple itself. He was usually on the outer court. This is where he worshipped at, was right here, because only the priest could enter into the inner court. So the prince would worship here. And the K, which was out here, way out here, the main east gate through which the glory of God of Israel returns to the temple. So this is the way God would enter the temple. He will enter through this gate here, go into the outer court, into the inner court, and come here where the most holy place was at. That's where the Ark of the Covenant was at, and that's where God would be seated right here. This is where sacrifices for Israel, so God could forgive them their sins. That's where it took place at. And then the temple tour. Now this is going to be hard because I got to find the numbers here. Let's see here. 1 is out here. 1 says the eastern main gate begins this tour. The E through W axis of the temple should be noted. If a line is drawn from the east gate to the most holy place, there is a sequence of 3 elevations as the space in the inner temple becomes increasingly constructed. So there's a 1 right there. And 2, which is here. It says that from this vantage point in the outer court, Ezekiel is shown the main features of the plaza area. So Ezekiel enters here and goes here to see the outer court, the northern facing gate. So then he went here to check this gate out, and then you have 4, which is down here, as you see. En route to the southern facing gate, no details are given of the outer court or the outer facade of the inner court. The architectural details of this area must remain speculative. So then he went down here to check this area out, and then here 5, Ezekiel's entry to the inner court is by way of the south gate. So then he entered in the inner court this way, and then 6 is here. Then the east gate past the imposing altar, not yet described. Then he goes to 7, and on to the north gate, which includes areas for handling sacrificial animals, which was here. Then 8, Ezekiel approaches the inner temple structure itself, first describing its entrances. He is then stationed outside the entrance, while his guide first measures its interior, then the exterior. So he went here and then waited for the guy, which is an angel, to measure the entire thing, pretty much. And then 9, which is out here, it says they exited the inner court through its north gate to explore the northwestern quadrant of the outer court. That took place here. And then 10, which is 10, he's here. It says Ezekiel and his guide leave the temple from the east gate by which they first entered. From this vantage point, Ezekiel was able to watch the return of the glory of God of Israel moments later. So there you go. So that's the picture of the temple. It's a huge temple, as you can see. It says down here on this little area, it says letters and diagram present locations within the temple complex. Numbers indicate the stages in Ezekiel's temple tours. So of course, we just read that and just seen that. So that's how big the temple looked like. The second temple, a huge place indeed. So this is like I said, this is a video on the temple, or the second temple, of how big it looked. It was massive, as you can see. So that's that. And I'll be back with chapter 41 here shortly.